January 26, a date that means different things to different people. For many Australians, it's a day to celebrate our country, our achievements, and our communities. We call it Australian Day. But for many others, this same day is a painful reminder, a reminder of invasion, loss, and the struggles of the First Nation people. They call it Invasion Day. So, what do we really call January 26? And more importantly, are we celebrating in the right way? Today, we want to pause, listen, and understand. We are going to hear from people who believe the date should be changed, people whose voices are asking us to think, reflect, and question.
Now, in Australia, we celebrate what they call Australia Day on January 26. But January 26 is the day in 1788 when white man came and took possession of Australia, saying that no one lived here. But the Indigenous people had lived here for tens of thousands of years. And from that day on, the Indigenous people of Australia were killed, they were massacred, they were abused, they had no respect and weren't treated as real people. So for them and for many of Australians that care about them, January 26 is a day of mourning, not a day to celebrate our nation. So what we would like to do is change the date to a date when we can all celebrate our country together with pride and across all communities and across all cultures. So not just a few white people that like Australia Day, but we all want to celebrate it together.
Indigenous people.
Yes, with all our beautiful mothers like this. So
Thank you.
we want it to be all inclusive.
Why do I celebrate Australia Day? I mean, I don't celebrate it on the day, of course. It's more about the date for myself. I don't celebrate it on the date because that's associated with, putting down the flag in Sydney Cove back in 1788, which is the start of colonialisation of Australia, and that's just wrong. That's the start of that's the crux of it. I mean, that's when white British colonialists came into Australia and started the genocide, pretty much, started massacring people en masse. And I feel as though celebrating Australia Day on the 26th is supporting that. That's why it was on the 26th, you know what I mean? That's why we shouldn't. To me, Australia Day is supporting being grateful that we can live in such a great country like Australia, but acknowledging the fact that we have such trauma and we need so much healing that hasn't been done. The change January 26th, because January 26th is when the flag got planted in Sydney Cove, and that's the start of British colonialism, which was the crux of all genocides, massacres, the stolen generation. Everything started from the moment the British folk wanted to claim Australia for themselves, and that's why it should be moved, because the 26th is celebrating that. It's celebrating the colonialism of Australia, and so absolutely should not be celebrated today. Different day, different date.
I think we need to change the date because it's important for the Indigenous people, because it's a day of mourning for them. And for us, as white people, it doesn't really matter, we can do it any day, so no significance at all. So let's just change it and make Aboriginal people happy and leave them the 26th as day of mourning.
Today, my name is Barbara Moore. I'm coming to town, Perth, to celebrate the Invasion Day. A lot of people call it Australia Day, but to me it's called Survival Day. I call it Survival Day and Invasion Day.
With regards to Survivor Day protests, we don't look at it here as a celebration day. We look at it as a day to recognise what's happened as far as colonialisation in Australia is concerned. I'm a younger generation, stolen generation person. My auntie here, she was stolen and has lost contact with her family over the last 200 years as well. These kind of incidents don't help. They bring up all sorts of memories. Being stolen and pushed off our own land is a real, it hurts. And these kind of situations only exacerbate that hurt. So we want to peacefully acknowledge that we are survivors. We appreciate that people want to spend time with their families and loved ones to celebrate and be grateful for the offerings they've had in our country. It is our country, always was, always will be. Thank you.
I've got a little bit of a story. I'm fifth generation white Australian and I never learnt Aboriginal history or anything at school, and by the time I was born in my district there were no Aboriginal mobs left, but my grandmother knew the Aboriginal people who lived there, and I'm very lucky that I had a grandmother that told me the Aboriginal history of the land that I was on. So I've always known I was on Aboriginal land, and I come out every year because I want to acknowledge that and stand in solidarity with the Aboriginal people. Always was and it always will be Aboriginal land.